Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I am here to talk about Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 5. Um, so yeah, we, we start off with some really awful bullshit monologue and slowdown with, Michael Burnham talking about stuff as Stamets is doing stuff in slow motion, and immediately the beginning of the episode makes us feel like the world is revolving around Michael Burnham, because that's what makes great Star Trek. The world revolving around one solo character. I wish that they would figure it out that they need to start distancing the show from Michael Burnham and start making the show cast centric. Not one character, multiple characters. You have you have characters in this show that you don't need to rely everything on one of the worst characters in the show. I'm sorry, I don't like Michael Burnham. I don't know many people that actually do like Michael Burnham. Her character could be likable if you would stop making her the center of the universe. By making her the center of the universe, you are making me want to stab her with daggers. If she was a normal Star Trek character, a Data or a Spock or whatever, maybe I would start to like her. But because she's Star Trek goddess and the world revolves around her, I'm sick of it. Sick and tired of it. So have a different character do bullshit monologues so that it doesn't sound like it's revolving around her. So yeah, that's how this show opens. And, well, let's just skip to the end of the show, shall we? It ends with more bullshit monologue from Michael Burnham talking about whatever at the end. So they start with bullshit monologue and they end with bullshit monologue. And that is really the worst part of this episode, is the start and the finish. The part in between's actually digestible and watchable to an extent, with some issues in the very beginning. So in the very beginning, we have Spock's shuttle being pursued, getting fired upon. A torpedo had to be used to stop the shuttle. Tractor beams locked on. And we have a full security contingent standing outside the shuttle as Burnham raises her phasers and the captain doesn't even have a phaser, but Burnham needs to raise a phaser when there's 7 other security guards standing outside, plus the chief of security, all armed. She really wanted to raise a phaser at her brother. Well, she didn't. She believed her brother, and no, it wasn't Spock that came walking out of the shuttle. Which I'm fine with. Thank God it wasn't Spock coming out of the shuttle. So once again, we've delayed the meeting of Spock in this season. It's becoming like a running gag. Okay, we're gonna meet Spock. No, we're not. Okay, we're gonna meet Spock. Oh no, we're not. Okay, we're gonna meet Spock. Oh no, we're not. Okay, we're gonna meet Spock. Oh no, we're not. Maybe we won't ever meet Spock the entire season, and the whole casting of some character to play him was just an April Fool's joke. God, if that could only be true. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But no, we'll eventually have a Spock. God. But anyway, I digress. So Captain Giorgio comes walking out, or Empress Giorgio, as Burnham knows, and maybe some of the security guards on board the Discovery may actually know, but the security chief and Captain Pike, they don't. They're in the dark. But Captain Giorgio comes walking out, and Pike's like, Captain Giorgio, and Captain Giorgio's like, Captain Pike. And she just struts onto the Discovery, And the whole security contingent just lowers their weapons, and she just walks aboard like she owns the place. Not 5 minutes later, she wouldn't stop for the Enterprise. The Enterprise had to waste a torpedo to actually stop her. But hey, it's Captain Giorgio. Come right on in. You own the ship. I mean, yeah, there was a bit of, if we went back to the Next Generation and Tasha Yar was there, Tasha Yar, the moment she would have stepped a foot forward, Tasha Yar would have had her on the ground. Tasha would have leapt forward and been like, "Oh, this is my duty. I got to make sure the ship is safe," and would have put her on the ground. But not in this Star Trek. In this Star Trek, we could just liege, just walk onto the ship like, we own the place because we're Captain Giorgio. So yeah, there was that period of stuff, and then we got into the whole mycelium network focused episode, and wow, we actually had an episode where there wasn't 7 different stories happening simultaneously. We were not getting pulled in 14 different directions. There was one storyline. One storyline we had to follow. We could actually understand the one emergency storyline, and that had all to do with the mycelium network. And that was a big plus. Being able to actually concentrate on something. It was almost episodic. This is the episode of Star Trek Discovery where they get stuck in the mycelium network. Well, or they ram themselves into the mycelium network to save Tilly. Okay. Cool. So how do I feel about this particular episode compared to episodes before? I don't feel this was the best episode. I'm still season 2, episode 2, which was directed by Jonathan Frakes, was the best episode of this season. Season 2, episode 4, where we had the too many things happening episode with Michael Burnham and Commander Saru getting all touchy-feely. That's probably the episode that this one would have to compare to. I think it's on level with that one. In fact, personally, I like this episode more than season 2, episode 4, because I was able to focus on one thing. It didn't pull me in multiple directions. With the exception of the Captain Giorgio bullshit opening and the horrible monologue by Mikey Spock and the end log by Mikey Spock, if we get rid of that, this was a pretty decent episode of Star Trek Discovery. So, how do I feel about it? I feel that Season 2, Episode 5, on my 10-point scale that I've been rating things on, gets a 5.0 out of 10. In fact, it's the only episode besides Season 2, Episode 2, that has gotten a 5 or better score. So in my opinion, Season 2, Episode 5 is the second best episode of the entire series after Season 2, Episode 2. So this was a pretty good episode of Star Trek Discovery. with the exception of the bullshit uh, monologue in the beginning and the end by, you know, the goddess of Star Trek Discovery. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I feel about season 2, episode 5. I give it a 5 out of 10. Second best episode of the season after season 2, episode 2. Which then makes season 2, episode 4 as the one in the middle. It's not the worst, it's not the best, it's the one right in the middle, and season 2, episode 1 being the second worst, and season 2, episode 3 being the very worst of the season. So, uh, if we're looking at this from a out of 10 scale, season 1, I give a 3.2 out of 10. Season 2, episode 1, I give a 3.2 out of 10. Episode 2, I give a 5.5 out of 10. Episode 3, I give a 2.1 out of 10. Episode 4, I give a 4.7 out of 10. So 5 is what I consider watchable, right? So this last episode, season 2, episode 4, well, some of you thought it was good. I still didn't think it was good enough to be considered watchable. I think it was on the cusp of being watchable. That's why I give it a 4.7 out of 10. But season 2, episode 5, I give a 5.0 out of 10. It's watchable. That makes 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery in this season watchable. 2 of 5, which is way better than season 1. So maybe they are improving. Maybe this show has some hope. But I don't know. We'll see going forward. I mean, they don't seem to learn very fast. And yeah. So anyway, this has been how I feel about season 2, episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery. And hopefully you appreciate my honest review and how I feel about it. And if you like it, leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, peace.